If I could have the appearances of counsel for the record, starting with the people.
Robert Himmelblau for the people, Your Honor.
Good morning, Your Honor. Kenneth Rosenfeld on behalf of Ms. Seamus, who's present.
Alan Sawyer for Mr. Silva that's present in court.
So this matter is on today for a pretrial conference, and we've had some discussion in chambers. And the DA has given the court a statement of plea negotiation for Anthony Ray Silva.
Correct, Your Honor. I have a copy that should be filed. Give me copies for the defense.
And we're gonna file it under case number 2018-15125. Would you like to recite the terms of the agreement, Mr. Himmelblau?
Yes. The terms of the agreement whereby Anthony Silva has agreed to enter a guilty plea to count 6 and indictment 2018-001525, Government Code Section 1090, a felony. Defendant would agree to a Harvey waiver under People v. Harvey to count 1, Penal Code Section 487A, in the same indictment. Pursuant to the Harvey waiver and to count 1, defendant would be jointly and severally liable for the reimbursement of Cypre funds to the Zeal Law Firm, ZELLE, in the amount of $19,783.69. Defendant would be subject to a top of 6 months county jail. In addition, defendant would be subject to standard conditions of probation. In exchange, the people would dismiss the remaining counts of the file of 1525 and the counts in indictment 2017-2704. This agreement was reached after consideration of all the facts and circumstances surrounding the case, including post-indictment document review pursuant to search warrants and reciprocal discovery. In addition, in my statement of the plea negotiation, I outlined the reasons for that. In essence, this is a motion under 1385 for dismissal of those counts in the interest of justice in light of the plea.
All right, and so that was also gonna include,
And also the
misdemeanor?
the misdemeanor traffic offense.
All right, and so you said this would be joint and severally liable. I thought we.
I didn't mean to say that. That was in the document, but I understand what the court's position is, and I accept it.
Your Honor, the only correction that I think was that the probation term we agreed on would be 3 years.
I didn't put that in there, but that's what we had discussed.
All right, so the court is accepting this plea based on the representations that the people have put in their negotiated plea deal, which will be filed and available to the public. At this time, I'm going to take Mr. Silva's plea. Mr. Sawyer, have you discussed with your client the elements of the charges and any possible defenses that he might have?
Yes, Your Honor.
And have you explained to him his rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
Have you explained to him the direct consequences that will result from a plea of guilty in this matter?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Silva, do you understand the nature of the crime for which you're pleading in this case, which is count 6? And that crime is a conflict of interest under the Government Code Section 1090.
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand what is required by law to find you guilty of this offense?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, the maximum sentence you could receive in this offense, this is an 1170H offense, is that correct?
I believe so.
Yes, Your Honor.
And so the maximum you can get is 3 years in jail on this matter. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes.
And it's understood today that this is going to be a negotiated plea. Well, you're giving a 6 months top, which is 180 days in jail, and we'll send you to probation. They'll prepare a report, and then we'll do a sentencing hearing, and the court can pick anywhere from 0 days to 180 days. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Also, you're going to be placed on certain terms and conditions of probation for 3 years. You will be on formal probation. If you violate any terms and conditions of probation, you could then go back to county jail for up to the 3 years minus any time you've already served. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Also, as a result of your plea today, there are certain mandatory fines that the court must impose. There's a restitution fine that's anywhere from $310,000, which is required in all cases, and that's pursuant to Penal Code Section 1202.4. There's also a matching probation revocation fine. However, this fine is stayed, meaning you don't have to pay it unless your probation is violated for any reason, and that's pursuant to Penal Code Section 1202.44. There's also a 10% surcharge for the county pursuant to 1202.4L. There's also a court conviction fee pursuant to Government Code Section 70373, and a $40 court operation assessment pursuant to Penal Code Section 1465.8. The court is also ordered to order restitution to the victim, and there's been an agreed on negotiating that the victim will be the Zeal Law Firm, and the amount of restitution will be $19,783.69. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
And normally you would have the right to have a hearing in order to fight that amount if you disagreed on that. However, it's my understanding that the parties have agreed that is a correct restitution amount. Is that correct, Mr. Sawyer?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that correct, Mr. Himmelblau?
Yes, Your Honor.
I need the DA to provide a factual basis for this plea.
People stipulate to the grand jury transcript.
Yes, Your Honor. Yeah, I mean, yes, Robert. Chairman Ball.
All right, the court will accept the, I have read the transcripts from the indictment on both cases, and the court will accept that for the factual basis. Now, Mr. Silva, you have the following constitutional rights that you're giving up today. You have the right to have a speedy and public jury trial within 60 days after the filing of the indictment in the Superior Court. And at that trial, the district attorney would have to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt to 12 impartial jurors. Do you understand that right, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you give that right up?
Yes, Your Honor.
You also have the right at your trial to confront and cross-examine witnesses testifying against you. Do you understand that right, sir?
Yes.
And you give that right up?
Yes.
You also have the right to use the subpoena power of the court to bring in both witnesses and evidence in your defense. Do you understand that right, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you give that right up?
Yes, Your Honor.
You also have the right to testify at your trial, or the right to remain silent, and you cannot be forced to be a witness to testify against yourself at your own trial. Do you understand that right, sir?
Yes.
And you give that right up?
Yes.
I also have to advise you that if you are not a citizen of the United States, any conviction for any criminal case will result in your deportation, denial of exclusion, and denial of reentry into the United States. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Other than what we've talked about in court today, sir, and the plea agreement that Mr. Himmelblau has filed, has anyone made any promises to get you to plead guilty here today? In other words, there's no secret side deals that I'm not aware of.
No, Your Honor.
Has anyone threatened you or anyone close to you forced you to plead guilty today?
No, Your Honor.
Are you pleading today freely and voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor.
Today, sir, are you under the influence of any alcohol, drug, narcotic, or medication?
Negative, Your Honor.
Have you had enough time to speak with your attorney about this matter?
Yes.
Now, if you are currently on probation or parole for any other case, that probation or parole could be violated as a result of your plea in this case, and you can face the maximum sentence on those other cases. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about what we're doing, Mr. Silva, before I take your full plea?
No.
Counsel, do you waive a full reading of the indictment and waive any formal arraignment for judgment?
Yes, Your Honor.
So on file ending 2018, 15125, going to count 6. What is your plea to on or about May 1st, 2013 through September 30th, 2016, a conflict of interest, Government Code Section 1090, a felony? What is your plea, sir?
No contest, Your Honor.
Was that the agreement? I thought it said guilty.
You know, in the plea agreement, it says enter a plea, Your Honor. It's the same thing, the court treats it.
It could be, I could have read it incorrectly. Let me see.
I did,
First paragraph.
I did say guilty.
You did or did not?
I did.
You did?
It did
So what
say,
is the agreement? Do you want a guilty plea or no contest?
it doesn't matter, it's the same,
Okay.
it's exact same effect.
So The court will accept the no contest plea. I do have to let you know that the court treats the no contest plea the same as a guilty plea for sentencing purposes. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And there was also gonna be a Harvey waiver for count 1 on the same
Yes, Your Honor.
indictment.
If I could put that on the record, Your Honor, there was money from a settlement that was, that specified that it was going to the Boys and Girls Club for a specific purpose. That money was used for that specific purpose, but from the Kids Club of Stockton. And we've agreed, because they requested that the money be returned, because it was a different organization as far as no longer affiliated with the national organization. We've agreed to that under the terms of this plea agreement. The Kids Club is going to be paying that back, but Mr. Silva will be personally responsible for it.
All right, do you concur in the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
I find the defendant guilty based on his plea of no contest. I find that the defendant has been fully informed of and understands his constitutional rights. He has made a knowing, intelligent, free, and voluntary waiver of those rights. There's a factual basis for the plea and is entered. Is there a motion regarding the remaining counts in file 15125?
Yes, Your Honor. People would move to dismiss in the interest of justice and let it plea.
And also file 2018 11997, that's the traffic matter.
I'm sorry, what was the number?
The traffic matter.
Oh, the traffic matter, yes. People would move to dismiss and let it plea.
And also file 2017 2704, the other indictment.
Again, people would move to dismiss in the interest of justice and let it plea, as stated by the plea negotiations statement.
And at this time, since the defendant has been convicted of a felony, you can no longer own or possess any firearms or ammunition. You order to give up any firearms or ammunition in your possession, and you have 24 hours to do that and 48 hours to show proof of the court that you've either sold those firearms or ammunition to a licensed gun dealer or you've turned them over to the police department. My clerk's gonna hand you a firearm relinquishment form that you're ordered to fill out and hand back before you leave court today. Do you waive time for sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, the court's gonna order a probation report. Now, we probably will need 8 weeks, so I'm looking at well, I have July 29th, does that work?
Yes, Your Honor.
Does that work for you, Mr. Hanbaugh?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so the matter will be continued till 9 a.m. on July 29th for sentencing. Defendant is ordered present.
Did you say 9 a.m.?
Yes, at 9 a.m. in this department. And then Ms. Seamus's matter, we're still at the pretrial conference stage. When did you want to put that one over, Tal?
To the same date?
Your Honor, it's expected there's going to be a complete dismissal of Ms. Seamus's case on that date, so we'll put it over to that date.
Okay, so Ms. Seamus's matter is also set for July 29th at 9 a.m. in this department.
Correct.
Do you want her ordered present, or?
It's not necessary.
Okay, so Ms. Seamus is
If
not.
something changes, I'll notify the court in writing with Mr. Rosenfeld.
And I've agreed to that, Your Honor, that if the court or the district attorney wishes her present, but if not, the 977 waiver is on file and she won't be here.
All right, and so Ms. Seamus is not ordered present for that date. Anything, oh, and then also, Mr. Sawyer, are you gonna withdraw the 995 motion?
Yes, Your Honor. We withdraw it.
And then the discovery motion, we'll just have it on for discovery motion setting at that time if it doesn't resolve.
Again, I expect the resolution to happen, but yes, Your Honor.
And then, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right, that concludes today's matters.
Thank you.
Thank
Your
you.
Honor.